Okay, welcome back to the Culture Coach podcast. I have Elena Wells with me. Elena, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
I am just so excited. This is such a treat to have you on. The Final Four is, I guess, at the time of this recording, I know you know the number of days in your head. Where are we on the countdown?
21 days until
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. So exciting. Well, I was in your shoes 20 years ago now, so I know a lot has changed. But for the audience that may or may not know anything about a local organizing committee, I'd love for you to tell us, a little bit about your journey that got you here, and then what is the LOC?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so my journey started back with you in the beginning in 2002 for the Women's Final Four here in San Antonio. When you were in this same role, I was on staff with San Antonio Sports and really wanted the opportunity to be a part of the team with boots on the ground. So I think my first year that job was I was in the NCAA office and helping with the NCAA women's basketball staff. And then in 2004, the next year when we hosted the men's, I had a couple different roles in that and being able to kind of be an extension of your team through San Antonio Sports and helping. And then the journeys continued from there. I had the opportunity to work on the 2008 men's Final Four, 2010 women's Final Four, and then I came back in 2018 for that Final Four, and came back again for this Final Four to do it again.
Wow. So many Final Fours under your belt, and San Antonio's honestly as well, right? Well, this podcast is about culture. And so I thought, I know so much has changed from 20, 25 years ago when I led the team, and it was a much smaller team. There were 4 or 5 of us on staff. We'd pull in San Antonio Sports, as you mentioned, just, thousands of volunteers. But, I know the uniqueness of the time frame that you have to pull together a staff, build up that rapport, and especially with a larger team than what I experienced. I'd love to hear, first of all, what does good culture look like to you? And then tell me a little bit about the team that you have built.
Yeah, absolutely. So, back, you mentioned, when you were leading the team, it was 4 or 5 people. In 2008 and 2010, it was even less. We had 3 people on our staff then. And then in 2018, we increased that number to, I think we were at 8, including interns. And now we're at 15, which so each year that the team has doubled. And I think that's just a testament to the growth of the event. And also maybe me and our partners here, not being as young as we used to, and not being able to pull the same kind of hours or that we used to. So that has grown tremendously. As a local organizing committee, we are responsible for bringing all of the partners together in the local community to pull off the event. So we work with the city and Visit San Antonio and the host institutions, UTSA and UIW, to put all the pieces into place that the NCAA needs in order to execute the event. And our role as the local organizing itself has just grown with the growth of the fan events and the marketing opportunities and just the community activation. So the building a team that can execute really, and it's kind of like a jack of all trades kind of team, because there's so many different pieces that you don't get one like focus area that you can hire for. You're kind of looking for someone that can jump in and contribute across all areas, whether that's community relations, operations, or marketing and communications. They all kind of tie in together.
And so how long did you have to pull together that team, right? The event's in April of 2025 is where the year we are now. When were you able to start hiring that team?
So we started hiring that team probably 6 months out from the 2024 Final Four. I was in place in January of 2023
Okay.
to really kind of set up the office and the structure of what we were going to need, and then really went to look for some of our directors in towards the later part of that summer. But really, like our first person they started besides me started January of 2024, and then then everyone else kind of started between then and January of 24 and July of 24 was the last person that we have brought on.
Wow.
So yeah, it's definitely not a lot of time, and the challenge of it's a temporary role. So really finding someone that can fit into that is okay. Like understanding that we're working towards a really big goal and a great opportunity, but that it's a short time period.
Yeah. And so anything that you did to kind of pull the team together in the beginning, or how do you get a team to gel quickly in that type of time frame?
Yeah, I mean it's definitely not easy because and part of our team has come from all over. So part of our team, about half of our team is local to San Antonio, and the other half has come and traveled in for this opportunity from Alabama and Connecticut and Houston and Oklahoma. We've got people from kind of all over California, and so that definitely wasn't easy. But I think where we started was I would hire one person, and then that person would help hire the next person. And so we all kind of had a role in building the team and making sure that we were in alignment with who we wanted to invite to the team for this, because it's high stress. There's a lot of pressure environment. And so we want to be able to make sure that as we get closer to the event that we're able to gel together and work well together.
So important. I imagine you're getting pulled in a million different directions. And so your team being able to make some decisions on their own and probably takes a lot of trust and collaboration. What are some of the leadership of your leadership philosophy or principles of leadership that you use with your team?
Yeah, I mean, that is a big thing because I am the only one on the team that has worked on a Final Four. And so that institutional knowledge is really valuable, but it's also something that I can't be in everything in every place. So really building a team with trust, like to have that trust that we brought in the right people and giving them a chance to succeed or to learn from those. And then if I hear things and I can jump in and say, oh, let me provide this perspective. That's what I try to do. I don't want to take over or be in everything just because I have that institutional knowledge. I want to give them that opportunity. So my biggest philosophy is to lead with trust. And then lead by example and jump in there. And, part of this process for me was setting up the proper expectations for the staff from the beginning. So even in the interview process, I would always start off with, like, I want you to know what you're signing up for, because there's going to be a time when you're working so many hours and your brain is so tired and you just still have to keep pushing through because the event is coming whether you're ready or not. And that may mean that during the day your phone is ringing off the hook and you're in meetings, and then by the time it's 6 o'clock, that's when you finally sit down to actually do the work that you need to do, and you have to do that. So really making sure those clear expectations are there from the beginning, so that now that we're in the crunch right now, nobody's surprised that they're being asked to do these extra things or to jump in and do where you may be the marketing person, but today we need you to pin Fiesta medals on a lanyard because that's the project of the day that has to get done.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I did it myself. So yeah.
Right. Yeah. Leading by example, as you said. How successful do you think you were? And you're still, a couple weeks away, but in setting those expectations, has anything come as a surprise to anybody,
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I think it really worked out. I feel like one of the more prouder moments I had was a few weeks ago in our staff meeting when our operations director, Manny, spoke up to remind the team of that expectation and kind of that commitment that the whole team made from the beginning. Like, I know we're asking you to work these weekend events but this is what we signed up for and this is what we knew. So they started delivering that message, not me.
Yeah.
That was a proud moment to know that, it wasn't just me trying to push them, like they get it too.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great sign that they truly get it and are on board when they start preaching it themselves. Well, talk to me about feedback too. I imagine with a fast-paced event like this, a feedback loop from the team or even you back to the team, it probably has to happen in real time or it doesn't happen at all. How have you managed with giving or receiving feedback with the team?
Yeah, I mean, part of it is trying to always have like an open door, even if my door's not open.
Yeah,
because I'm on calls and to stop and take the time. Like if someone needs something and they have a question or they really need that guidance, and they'll always come in and be like, "Are you busy?" And I'm always like, "Well, yeah, but that doesn't matter. Sit down and let's work through what you're going through because I know that my work can happen. I'm committed to this, and my work can happen at midnight if it has to. But I want to make sure you have the tools that you need to do what you need to do." So that's been one of the things. I think the other thing is I establish is I don't want to be the roadblock to anything, to progress. So if you're holding something up because you're waiting for me to review it, come in right away. Or I like to see things just because I have that historical knowledge and some of those, and I have preferences on how I'd like to see them, but give me till the end of the day. And if I don't respond by the end of the day, my opportunity is lost and you guys have to move forward because, we are working on timelines and deadlines, and don't let me hold it up. But if you really want my feedback or know that that's something that you need, come in and stop me so I can do that.
Have you been able to stick to that? I mean, have there been things that have had to go without Yeah, that's got to be hard, but
yeah, it's definitely hard. And then I might have feedback and I look at it and be like, oh, well, and sometimes I share it and say, hey, I would have done this differently. And sometimes I don't because it's what they've worked towards it. And it's kind of, is it a learning opportunity so that they know for next time? Or is it just something they made the decision and they're going to go with it?
Yeah, that's great. And I think it leads to the next question is really helping employees feel valued. And it sounds like even that, like that's you're not, by you just keeping things to yourself, sometimes that helps them feel like they are empowered and, that's not an outward you telling them good job, but what are some things that you do to help your employees feel valued during this time?
Well, a lot of it is kind of telling them and reiterating them, like, this is your project and what do you want to do? Because for someone who hasn't been through that, and I've been in that position myself, you might be uncertain, but giving them that trust, saying, I trust you and I got you. I know that's something I always feel valued when someone trusts me to make the decision or to run with something and do. And I think that is kind of from the way that I came up through with Jenny Carnes as my previous boss and you and Susan and Blackwood, and being able to do that. So that's been an important factor for me to let them have that and hopefully feel that value. I think the other thing is that, that recognition piece is important. And every week in our staff meeting, we celebrate the wins. And so we finish our staff meeting by going through like, what were our wins for the week? And some of them can be really simple and some of them can be really grand. But really just so that we're all celebrating together and remembering that this is fun. It's high stress. It's a lot of pressure, but it's also fun. And we should celebrate that.
Yeah, that's great. I'm curious, and if the answer is no, I can cut this, but I'm curious if you did any like vision setting or core values or anything of your own for Saylock.
So we did have we sat down kind of after we got a majority of our staff on board, and we did a staff retreat. Like we went off site, and it was like an Airbnb and had catered food, and we kind of sat down together and talked about, what are our goals for the event. And we did it after Phoenix, so the team got to see a Final Four. And then after the wrap up report, and then we all kind of sat down and said, okay, what would we all collectively like to see done differently, or just to put our mark on the event? So we did do that.
That's great.
And I think that's been helpful because we're working towards a common goal. And being able to be collaborative, especially when you have outside entities like the NCAA, kind of maybe not being as supportive of your ideas because they have their ways and their structure of how they do things. But, being able to share it in that together so that we all know that this is what we want to see. But
yeah, that's great. I love that you guys set that foundation with the retreat, and then you've got that shared vision. What would you say? I mean, I guess you mentioned the different entities working with them, and any other kind of roadblocks or barriers, not that they're roadblocks or barriers, but have there been any roadblocks to success that you've experienced?
Yeah, I mean, I think because we are working with so many different entities, they all have their different idea of how things should be done. And sometimes those don't always agree. So you have to make some compromises there on how you execute that. The NCAA is a large organization that has a lot of moving parts. And so navigating that is a challenge and can be a challenge, especially when you have a team that's raring to go. Like they're ready to jump in and move things forward. But like the NCAA is doing a lot of other things. They have their staff is not just working on the Final Four, they're working on other championships. And so having to say, we have to pump the brakes and hold on, that's definitely been a challenge. I think the other thing is the team doesn't always gel. Sometimes there are members that it doesn't work out. And part of that, especially in this short of a time frame, is recognizing that quickly, doing what we can to correct it. And then if we can't correct it, making the hard decisions to move on so that the rest of the team can continue to function. And we've had to do that a couple of times. And I think that for me, I hope that shows the team that we're committed to how we work together and to making that an important factor, that we are gelling, that we're collaborating, and that we have everyone on the team is in alignment with that. And if not, then we're going to have those conversations and look at what that plan is, even if it means it makes the work harder, and being willing to do that.
That's great. And I really think that's part of how you build a culture, is being so intentional, not just about rewarding the good behaviors, but making sure that there are consequences for the behaviors that don't align with those goals and that vision that you've set. Even when it may make it harder for a short period of time, it's to protect the integrity of the culture that you want on the team. That's great. Okay. Well, I guess my kind of for wrap up questions, I would ask what lessons have you learned, along the way? Anything you would do differently or make sure you keep the same if you did it again?
Gosh, being in the middle of it, it's I think almost every day there's something, or those things. For me, I think I would have. I always wish for more time, right? Like, because you get to go through this once. Even if I did do it before, it's like this one time, and you figure out, you learn from it, but we don't have another chance to like go back and do it that way again. And I'm always like, oh, I really wish I would have had the foresight to see this and to be able to anticipate it, or when the next time comes around, I'll make note of it. But it's really just trying to have that time, or the opportunity. And if sometimes there are opportunities, we do one event one way and we learn, and we're able to self correct and do it differently. But we don't always have that luxury with this event.
Yeah. Well, I think one thing that you can carry with you is your leadership whatever you do next. If you do another event, if you do another Final Four, or if you move on to something different, what do you think you'll take with you from a leadership philosophy perspective?
For me, because I think my challenge always in the past has been trying to do it all. And so in this process, not being able to be involved in everything and trusting the team, like I'm taking that with me. So when I go into something else, I know that the team, wherever I am, that I have that trust in them, and to let them see it through, to let them have their success and make their mistakes too, because that's how we all learn and get better and improve.
Yeah, so important. So hard as a leader to do that sometimes, but it's a great lesson to learn for sure. Well, I'm not going to keep you much longer. I know you've got a lot to do to get ready. I think this episode will probably drop just that week before, the Wednesday before your Final Four Friday. Anything you would share with folks if they're local and they want to come out, or what would you tell folks on how to get involved?
Yeah, absolutely. Come check it out. Like, check out all the hard work that our team, and not just our team of 15 people, but hundreds of people across the city have put the work in. And come downtown. Don't let traffic scare you. There's lots of parking, or take Park and Ride or ride share, and come check out the events. Most of them are free. If you do anything, come to the Alamo Dome on Final Four Friday without a game ticket, and see what the Alamo Dome looks like when it's set up for 70,000 fans. Because that's always like a goosebump moment for me, to see just how we transform the building in just 3 short weeks. Check out free music festival with headlining acts. We have Pitbull, Jelly Roll, and Chris Stapleton. And if you don't have a game ticket, we always say no ticket, no problem, because the fan festival has a small ticket fee of $10, but most people can find a way to get in for free. And then the tip-off tailgate, we're going to have, for the first time, game watch parties for both the men's and the women's Final Fours in Civic Park. It's completely free. So come down and watch the games in the park, and just be a part of the atmosphere, because it's a blast.
Awesome. And if you're not in San Antonio, tune into the games on TV. Absolutely.
Or come visit.
Yes.
Welcome. Yeah.
Exactly. Awesome. Yeah. Well, Elena, thank you so much for this conversation. I really appreciate it. All the best to you and the team. I know you guys are just going to kill it.
Thank you. And thank you for your support as always.
Absolutely. Thanks.